Hello, welcome to the next episode of Ask the Expert. I am Sam from My Mortgage Angel. We offer friendly mortgage advice. We have a lovely office in Benfleet. We can also deal with it over Zoom, and we offer phone calls. We have a head office in London. So basically, however you want to contact us, then feel free. But enough about me. This evening, I am met by the fabulous Yvonne Ray from EweMove Sales and Lettings in Benfleet and Hadleigh. Yvonne, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
My pleasure, Sam. Lovely to see you as always, and thank you for inviting me.
Very welcome. There are other things I think we should be both doing on a sunny evening, but work is work, and we're both married to the job.
Indeed, indeed we are. Indeed we are.
So, from my compliance, we are recording this on Monday, the 7th of April. I don't even know the date. It's the end of a long day. It's the 7th of April, 2025. So, Yvonne, tell me a little bit about your business, please.
Yes, thanks, Sam. I basically like to tell people that I'm in customer service and I happen to sell houses, really. I like to empower people to make the right decisions about property, be that buying, selling, letting, and renting. And there's lots of conversation to be had about the right time, right place, what you want to do, when you want to do it, values, and all sorts of things in the property arena. So, I like Sam. I know we're very much aligned in sort of trying to empower and give knowledge to our customers, and basically that's what I'm here for, to be your local property expert and help you make decisions.
And I think that's how we met, actually. We were both in networking circles, and I kept being told, you need to meet Yvonne from EweMove. And I think you kept going told to meet Sam from My Mortgage Angel. And then finally we met, and that was probably about 8 years ago now. Um,
Yes,
yes, long time
yes,
ago. Oh,
long time ago,
lovely
absolutely.
working with you, though.
I
I
know.
like the way you treat your clients. It's you get to know them, and it's that customer service. And for those of you watching this video, you'll know I talk about customer service quite a lot.
Yeah, I just think it's critical these days, especially around your home. It's the most critical thing. And I know when people are on that home moving journey, that it's the first thing they think about in the morning when they wake up. It's the last thing they think about at night. When you're in the middle of it, it's the only thing on your mind. And I just feel it's really important to, I'm the expert and I need to tell you things that you need to know and things that you need to do and things you need to be aware of. And I not only can help you sort of with selling your house, but maybe even buying the next house. You might have a couple to choose from, and you're thinking about the values and how do you make an offer and all of these things. And I really just really do like to make sure we build a relationship where you can trust what I'm saying, and it gives you value. When you're dealing with me, you feel like you've had a positive experience. So yeah.
And that's really important because you live and breathe this all day, every day. Somebody might well, firstly, it might be the first time they're selling a property,
Yeah.
or it might be the first time for 30 years they've sold, and things do change. So to have somebody there holding your hand along the way, I think is an invaluable service. So I absolutely love what you do, Yvonne.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So we've kind of covered this already, but I'll give you the floor. How do you help your clients?
Yeah, I mean, as we said before, it's about empowering them and giving them knowledge. I'm a very non-pushy agent, so I'm a little bit sort of out of the ordinary in that way. Um, I like to say that I do the same as all the big offices do, but obviously I do it better. So but it is about the personal touch. It's about getting to know each other. When I'm talking to people, it's about, what are your pressures, what are your drivers, why do you want to make this move, and how can I support that, and how can I help you make that happen? And and that changes the way you market a property. You might not sort of people might not realize that, but when you are thinking about marketing your property, you don't just put it on Rightmove and go, okay, that's fine. You need to think about where you're pricing it. Do you need a speedy sale? Do you need X amount of pounds? Are you testing the market? Are you, in a real hurry? And all of these different things, it's about telling you your options and making sure that you're getting what you want out of it and managing your expectations. And we can only do that if we're chatting and we get to know each other, again, as I say, trust is quite important, but you know, you can trust what I'm telling you so that you can make your own decisions about it. There's no wrong or right in this. You know, I often say to my vendors, you know, you're in control of the situation. Um, you're in control of if you go on the market, when you go on the market, if you accept an offer, if you don't, all of these things, you're in control of that. You're not on a runaway train. You know, make decisions that are good for you. Buyers have power because buyers have money. So when that money arrives and that they come to the table with the power, you can then decide what you're doing about you know accepting the offer or not. It's you know it's a symbiotic relationship, and I'm there to help you get together with the right person and get the right people in the right houses. So yes,
So you're a
that's what.
matchmaker like I am.
Yes, indeed, very much so. I can't. It's so dreamy when you get the right when a especially when a buyer comes in and they have that moment, you know, and I call it the right move moment just because they've got an ad where they, you know, they capture that essence of like that's the house and I love that. And when you see that in a buyer's eyes, they often apologize and go, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to be so excited, but you know, I want this house. So it's just lovely when you get people, you know, what they want, because it's so important to your life.
I'm a little bit jealous, Yvonne. I never get that moment when I mention a
Oh,
bank's name. No one ever
no.
sparkles in their eyes. I tell them what the monthly
It
payment
is.
is, and that's when they think, oh, okay, that's okay. I can do that.
That's good. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think yours is a longer lasting high, perhaps. Maybe it's not quite so high, but longer lasting, whereas mine's kind of a immediate
Yeah.
and then it dissipates. Yeah.
But it's about keeping that spark going, isn't it? Because buying and selling a house can take a very long time, depends on how long chains are and solicitors that are involved. And there's so many different moving parts along the way. It's your job
Yes.
really is to hold everything together, isn't it?
It is, you know, oftentimes it's like I don't even feel like I'm a cog in the process. I feel like I'm the oil that keep the cogs moving. Um, because as you say, many moving parts. And we're talking, you know, property really is about human beings, it's about people. And we're all a bit weird and wacky in our own way. And, you know, some people can be very sort of strict and regimented, and you know their expectations are very linear, and you know other people are a bit more sort of flighty and like, oh, it'd be fine, oh, I know, not to worry, you know. And really getting those two people in the same place at the right time can be sort of challenging. So you know it's about, you know, just giving a little tweak here, talking to this one here, making sure the solicitor's doing their thing over there, sometimes engaging with mortgage brokers just to saying, you know, what you're hearing about the survey, you know, blah blah blah, how we're doing on the offer and things like that. It's just keeping it all moving, keeping everybody involved so that nobody panics, because people, the longer it goes on, and it is tending to be a little bit more lengthy at the moment, but the longer it goes on, the more people start to kind of get a bit anxious, they start to overthink, they can get cold feet. And you know, and nobody likes upsetting other people in the chain either, and so that panics them more. So yeah, it's just keeping all, you know, keeping everybody sort of soothed and a bit mellow, hopefully. Not always at the end of the process, to be fair, but yeah, as you get towards the end, it gets a bit tense.
I can imagine. I hope you have a good sounding board where you can let off steam at the end of the day, Yvonne.
Well, I went axe throwing once. That was quite fun, to be fair.
That's my favourite hobby.
Oh, is it?
I'm trying
Yeah,
to
I've
organise
always.
it for next week.
Oh, how fun! No, it was quite good fun. It was quite a lot of angst coming out there.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
We're some alike.
It was-
Right, okay, I'm going to ask you the difficult question now because it's my
Mm.
job. How do you
Right,
charge?
right. So, like many agents, it's a percentage. So I do an inclusive fee. So it's 1.2% including VAT. The reason it's inclusive is because, you know, we should be declaring VAT anyway, but that includes everything from the initial conversation, the marketing, the photos, the extra floor plans, premium listings, videos, there's all sorts of things, social media, websites, we're on multiple platforms. All these extra things cost money, but it's all included. So basically, I throw everything at it because I have fewer customers because I'm a smaller agent. I don't want to be the largest agent in the area. I like to deal personally with people. So we throw everything at it, and therefore, my fee includes everything. So that's just, I like to think it's competitive and comparable to other agents in the area. I'm sure it
Absolutely.
is. But as I say, I think you get a little bit more for your money from me.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you get you for your money, so definitely worth every penny. You helped a very dear family member of mine sell their house and made it really as stress-free as possible. So I'll always be grateful for helping with
Wow.
that. Definitely.
Yes, oh, well, no, thank you. I'm really delighted. It's always such a nice thing when somebody in the business, like a broker. I've had solicitors when you refer a family member. Well, a customer's lovely, of course, because you've got trust that I'll handle them the same way as you. But family members, I know it's just, you're aware of what can go on, and I just think that's the ultimate accolade, really, when a fellow professional trusts you to do the bit of business. So thank you for
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about sales progression, Yvonne. I think we've all got an idea of what happens, but we were chatting the other day, and kind of I'm not sure that customers really understand what good looks like and what their options are if they're not particularly happy with their service or whatever. So let's start with what does good look like in your opinion?
Oh, good, dreamy. So basically, you've got solicitors that are communicative, um, both with their own client, but also with agents, because not all agents are aggressive, horrible, pushy people. Some are, but not all of them are. And, we should be mutually respectful of each other. So, solicitors that are on board, clients that have got some knowledge, and, that should come from the solicitor, but it could come from me. It could come from you because, we come at it from different angles. Um, Fellow agents that are similarly dealing with their customers and their solicitors. And basically, the solicitors sort of are in a little line and they will talk only to each other. Often not even verbally, it's all emails, but nonetheless, they kind of will communicate with the next in the chain. And similarly, the agents do as well. We will hop back and forwards a little bit if we need to, because sometimes there might be an agent that's particularly busy, or you're not getting information, and information is critical, sort of keeping the line of communication open, as I say, those all in those cogs. So good is when you can talk to the one below you, the one above you, everybody knows where everybody is, all the clients are informed, everybody's heading in the right direction. It can start falling apart a bit sometimes if clients don't feel they're getting information from their solicitor. So I'm not here to bash solicitors at all, because there are good and bad solicitors in the same way there's good and bad estate agents. Um, but so sometimes I'm hearing things and I'm saying, oh, hasn't your solicitor told you that? Or you should have had a list of what you've got to do, blah, blah, blah. So I'm often having to tell customers, go back to your solicitor and ask them this, go and ask them this, because some solicitors don't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
Can't imagine why, because I, very, very speedy chatter. But they just want to get on with their job, and they don't want to talk to agents who they consider are a bit of a thorn in the side, really. But for me, if agents aren't selling houses, solicitors haven't got any work to do. So come on, let's all work together. And don't forget, our client is both of our client, and
Yeah.
we should both be working in our client's interest.
Yeah.
So so sometimes you do have to encourage the customer to ask questions of the client. Um, and sometimes, quite often I'm dealing with the other side, buyer who's got selling a property too. So they're a vendor of another property with another agent. And I'm having to sort of say to them, what's your agent saying about your buyer then? And, and so that's the only thing you can do if it's not looking good is ask questions of the relevant people. But yeah, so it can become frustrating, but that's why communication is good, because if you're telling people things openly and in front of the situation, people aren't getting frustrated because they don't know anything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
We were just chatting at the beginning when it can be really difficult, I think, when you're going around to say value somebody's house or when you're having a mortgage conversation with somebody. But the sooner you point out a potential issue, I think the easier it is for everybody to deal with. So I definitely have those conversations with my clients really early, and I know you do as well. You won't be trying to hide that thing on the wall. You point it out and say, "Hey, look, the rest of the house is amazing, but actually look at this issue," so it doesn't come and bite you in the future in 3 months' time.
No. Well, this is absolutely it. I would always encourage vendors to be open and honest with me about what I'm selling, because I mean, I like to think that I give a good representation of the house when I'm doing the viewings with buyers. And I'm not an agent that just stands in the doorway and says, "Oh, go knock yourself out, have a look round, and that'll be fine." I'm walking around, I'm talking, I'm explaining all the things you've explained to me. I'm telling the buyer. So sometimes the vendor will say, "Well, you don't know the house as well as I do," and that's true. I haven't lived there for 20 years, so tell me what's good and tell me what's bad about it, because what we don't want is bad appearing further down the line when we've had an offer in for 2.5 months. We're trying to get a mortgage valuation over the line. Solicitors are sort of darting things back and forth, and suddenly you go, "Oh, I'm not sure about that now."
Yeah.
Let's. I say often, but if necessary, if there's a crack in the wall or something, I'll point it out at the viewing, and I'll explain what it is and why.
Yeah.
I'll encourage vendors not to try and hide things. Sometimes vendors say, "Oh, I think I might want to go on the market, but we've got to tidy up this room. We've got to repaint. We've got to do this. We've got to do that." Let's not do it to hide things. Let's do it because you want to do it, because you're living there.
Yeah.
You know, um, because a surveyor will come round, and they'll have their say. Mortgage providers, some don't like some sort of properties in a certain way, or near chip shops, or everybody's got an opinion. So the more empowered you are as a buyer at the beginning of the process, the more you've bought into that property, really, and you've fallen in love with it, and you're less likely to get scared off. I often have to talk people through the surveys,
Yeah.
because they look scary as hell if you've never
Do, don't
seen
they?
one. There's
This
lots of red, yeah, lots of red
thick
marks,
report.
and
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, it's
Right.
really, really scary. So oftentimes I have to say, "Okay, look, don't worry, let's tell me what it is." And then I'll ask the vendor if there's any history, or whatever. Or I can say, "Yeah, but you saw that. Do you remember I pointed that out when we did the viewing?"
Yeah.
"Oh, is that what they're talking about?" "Yes, that's what they're talking about."
Yeah.
"Oh, that's all right then."
Yeah.
So it's just being there to help and make sure people are all happy in their decision making.
And explain the jargon along the way, because you and I understand it, because this is
Yes.
the world that we operate in. But like we were saying, to first time buyers or first time sellers, this is new, or it could be something they haven't done for a very long time. So yeah, just that friendly face of
Yeah.
no question
Yeah.
is ever too silly, and to feel like somebody's on
No.
your side. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. I look upon my houses as my children. My children are grown up adults that don't need me anymore. It's very important to me that I look after and do the right thing by the owners and the properties that I deal with.
Okay. So if things aren't going well, is there anything that sellers or buyers can do? Or once you've chosen your agent or your solicitor, is that it? Or you just have to put up with what you've got?
No, I would say no. Don't forget, vendors have control. So, if you're marketing a property, and you liked your agent when come through the door, done the valuation, and they said they're going to do X, Y, Z. If that's not happening, absolutely, talk to them, pull them up on it. I'm sure you'll get lots of other calls from lots of other agents, sort of saying, "Oh, we can do better." Look, if you look on all of our websites, we'll all say the same things. We're the best in the area. we are. You know, we've got multiple awards, but you know, we're the best in the area. We've got great customer service. We're here for you. We've got put your needs first. We all say the same thing, to be fair.
Yeah.
But if you're not getting what you expected to get, and you have, you know, have a word and it doesn't change, then change agents. I mean, look at your contracts. Not all contracts are equal. So we don't have a time period on our contracts. So if you want to sell through me, you sign up. I have to do my due diligence, anti-money laundering checks and ID checks, all of this sort of stuff. But if it's not happened to be going the way you want it to go, you can stop working with me anytime. And the reason we have that in is because we're so certain that the majority of people will be happy with what we do. We don't need to tie you in for 12 weeks. We don't need to say to you when we come and value, oh yes, we can sell that for whatever, within a couple of weeks, and but tie you in for 3 months. Why do you need to do that if you're going to sell it in 2 weeks? So if you're not happy, speak to your agent in the first instance, have a look at your contract, and you know, you've probably got to give a couple of weeks notice or whatever if you're not tied into a period. But even if you are tied into a period, you know, if you genuinely can't resolve the issue, then you can, you know, tell them in no uncertain terms that you want out. But make sure it's for the right reasons. Don't be necessarily swayed by the door knockers, because you know they can, again, salespeople, and can hit you when you're feeling a bit low. If your property hasn't sold, think about where you've pitched it. Is it right? Has the marketing strategy been considered for what your needs are?
Yeah.
But if it's not going well, you can change agents, absolutely. I'm not a fan of, and I've turned down properties if I was going to be the third agent, and that's not because you get dealt with in order. It's just because it makes your property look a bit desperate online.
Okay.
So multi is not too bad with selling with two agents, but really choose the right agent and get it done, because everybody looks online. So if your marketing is good online, you're going to sell. If you're not selling, is it the property or is it the marketing that's not working? Is
Yeah.
it, you know, is it the price? There are things you can do. And similarly with a solicitor, solicitors are a little bit more tricky. I always encourage people to do a little bit more before they need to. So don't have your property under offer and then be scrambling around for a solicitor. Look early, sort out who you might want to deal with, check out their terms and conditions and all of those sorts of things. Because once you're going through the process, to be fair, switching solicitors halfway through it isn't fab,
Yeah.
because the new lot will want to start again.
Yeah.
But certainly, you know, start to get a feel from, you are the client. You know, you're not there to sort them out, and you know, they're working for you. And a lot of people do forget this with solicitors sometimes. Um, but there's no reason why, you know, you can't have a lovely experience with the whole thing. It's just finding the right people early, I would say. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you and I work with lovely people, and I'm very often saying, look, it's okay to give them a call and ask what's going on. If you're feeling like you haven't heard, if you're feeling anxious about this, ask somebody. Ask you, ask me, like ask somebody, and then they're going to guide you in the right direction. Don't just sit there feeling worried about it yourself. If you're not sure, just speak up and say something.
No, absolutely, absolutely. You know, at the end of the day, even the solicitors' websites will all say, "Oh, we're here for our customers." And when you're on hold, you'll hear, "You know, we value everything you want to say to us," and all of those things. And I'm sure that's true intrinsically in the business, but day to day it can get a bit lost. So, you know, you are the customer, you are paying for the service, so you know you are well within your rights to be updated. And they're all so different; they all work in such different ways. It's yeah, it's important that you find somebody that works in the way you want.
And to understand up front, you're going to be updated once a week, you're going to be updated once a month. Okay, that's fine. That's your service. That's what I know I'm getting. And
Yeah,
it's managing expectations.
yeah, absolutely. And also they're very different. They're very different animals, because you can have an old school solicitor, that does things in a certain way on a certain day of the week, and then you can have a what they're unkindly referred to as conveyancing farms, but basically a very modern way of doing it, with just lots of people working on everything. So it's about, that's why your agent's so important, because the agent needs to know when they call the solicitor exactly what's going on, because you might be talking to somebody different. You might be talking to a legal assistant or a conveyancing executive, or that doesn't know the file, doesn't know the property. So as the agent, you need to know your property, you need to know your customers, you need to know your circumstances, so that you can make sure you get people going, oh, that's what you want to do, okay, and move it along a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
Right, so last question. But our viewers will probably be glad to hear me shut up.
Oh, me, sorry, I've been rattling.
No, no, not you at all. My children love watching this YouTube channel, so I very often I'll come in from work and I'll see myself on TV. It's awful.
Oh, lovely, that is nice. Wave to the boys.
They don't get bedtime stories anymore. They have to watch me on YouTube.
Inspiring
Anyway,
the next generation, that's good.
I've got sidetracked. Sorry. So, Yvonne, when would you like people to contact you in the process? I'm very, very vocal about I want customers to contact me before, if they're vaguely thinking about buying a home, remortgaging, whatever. If they're thinking about mortgages, come and talk to me, because I like helping people plan, and I like to help them achieve those plans. And sometimes you need to make tweaks a little bit before you're actually ready to go. So, how is it from your side?
Well, I would say similar, to be fair. I mean, don't get me wrong, lovely to get the call. Hi, Yvonne, would you come round? We want to put the house on the market next week. That's like, oh, lovely. However, I do feel like a lot of my gift is to help empower people in the same way. Um, Sometimes, property might be worth more than people are thinking, so they're putting off doing something because they think, oh, we're not going to get much for ours or whatever. And I can go around and they go, oh, really, that's fabulous, okay, we can bring our plans forward. Sometimes they might be planning to do up things, and oh, we're going to redo the decking and redo this, that, and the other. And honestly, it might not be worth doing. Very few things really that you can do in the short term add tens of thousands of pounds to the value of your home. So there are little tweaks you can do to make it more saleable, so it might sell more quickly. However, I just think it's a crime if you're going to spend money doing something that's not necessarily going to make a lot of difference. It's going to cause you disruption. You're going to spend money, and actually, when a buyer comes in, they're going to do their own thing anyway. So, talk to me early, and we can have that chat about, you know, do I think you should paint over bricks? No. Or
Maybe it depends where the
just
bricks are.
well, I suppose it does depend. I've just seen some horrible, horrible paint jobs. But no, there are different things. As I say, sometimes tidying up a room, for me, space and cleanliness, it speaks volumes over, or everything smells like it's just been repainted. Because, well, what are we hiding something then? I don't know. So it, again, everybody's different. Some people are very fastidious, and they couldn't dream of having anybody in their home without it being absolutely pitch perfect, which is lovely. And other people are just like, you know what, it's my home, take it or leave it. If you like it, you're going to buy it. If you don't, you're not. So again, everybody's different. So get me in early. We'll have the chat. It's a non-stressful time for you to be talking to me, hopefully. Before you're kind of in a panicky position, because everybody sells for different reasons. And exploring what you can expect out of the process, and getting in. It's like EPCs. A lot of people don't realise they might have to have an energy performance certificate on their property to sell. They're easy enough to get, but it's like, oh, what do you need to do for that? Now, you and I know, Sam, that there are green mortgages out there. So it could be a fairly simple tweak to something that you've never even thought about, could increase your EPC rating, which means that your buyer can get a better mortgage for them on your property.
Yeah.
So talk to me early. I've always got a lot to say, but we can get it done in a non-stressful situation. You know, as I say, I like to chatter on and give people information, so happy to do that.
Oh, so lovely to chat with you this evening, Yvonne. Now, my fabulous VA, Mel, PA from Virtual Admin Assistance, what she does all the techie stuff behind this. She's going to
Great.
put your photo at the beginning of the video, and she's going to put both of our contact details at the end of the video. And then if anybody wants to get in touch to talk about anything we've talked about today or give us any feedback, tell me to stop talking as much and give Yvonne more of the spotlight. I know. But yeah, thank you for your time this evening, Yvonne. And thank you to everybody watching. If you can like and subscribe, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Unless you're my children and then you've already done it. So thank you. And yeah, please log in and watch the next episode of Ask the Expert. So yes, thank you for watching. Good night.